This is the first playing of the new record by artist Noveta and musician Vindicatrix that's being released on the 15th of April on Purge Records.
It's called River Sound.
Liver heavy like a prophetic tablet from the on-off, excavates the price of floods. Bog bodies flicker from rest, lampleg and green heel outline running from the water. You can hear me rattling about in the kitchen with ice cubes, subverting the sacrificial principle. Ancient hours spent leathered by full stores reinforce my large shoes, but I'd rather this luxurious artifact of life, even if they never get the wine in when I go round.
Esther Krambachova was a filmmaker, costume designer and set designer, part of the New Wave Czech scene in the 60s. Both Ellen and I already were aware of her work. It was one of our probably first influences when we started collaborating on New Noveta. Specifically her films that she worked on, Valerie and Her Week of Wonders and Daisies, which she did set design and costume design for. She often worked under other names due to being blacklisted under the communist regime of the time. In 2017, Susanna Blokova and Edith Jobakova, both curators based in Prague, got in touch with us to invite us to be part of a group show in Prague that was around Esther Krambachova and her work. They'd recently gained access to her archive, which had been hidden for many years by Esther's partner. Esther died in the 90s. So we were lucky enough to get access to the archive as well, and we visited it a couple of times and produced the performance Nazarazna, which we performed in 2018 at Transit Display.
We were invited to look at the archive pieces of Esther Krambachova, and we got to see a big collection of her costume drawings, and we were also told stories about how she would make the costumes, which suddenly just really resonated with how we been making costumes for years ourselves. How she would often incorporate elements into the costumes to help the actors get into the parts. So for instance, she'd make a costume way too small to make the actor uncomfortable, or she would sew rocks or pebbles into the costume to weigh it down, or make it out of very scratchy material, so that they would react to something. And this is something that we've done, which seemed to tie things together really when we were invited to respond to her life work.
It's probably the first piece where we used this approach of we always kind of start with the vocals. So Kira and Ellen will record some vocals, maybe some sung bits, maybe some spoken bits, maybe some just sort of more dramatic kind of sounds and stuff, just general stuff in the studio, and then I'll go through and start building something usually from the vocals. But I think this was the first one where we did this thing of cutting it up into little samples and notes, and then sort of creating a kind of like a patch basically, where I could play the samples from a keyboard almost like a kind of instrument that was made out of their voices. So the actual kind of compositional process was quite, I think sometimes Kira and Ellen will like write a little graphic score for me, but the structure was quite basic, and then within that there's a lot of actual improvisation using this instrument that we sort of created from their voices.
We always want our voices to be very present in the pieces that we make, to make out a large part of the pieces really. Our voices are also present in the live scenario, more recently as composed sung bits. And you can always hear our bodies moving in the room with each other and with the props, breathing and communicating with each other and sometimes the audience.
The earth cauterizes all sorrow. Wings flap with executioner's breath, the air invaginated at the fault line. A woman's glimmer rung out in the tatters of drenched mystery play, flying like torn fabric. A ripped room angle, recalling the usual Cuban heel. I thought I was dreaming until the neighbours came out screaming. Sloppy cursitors cavil against business pragmatists or more inexplicable assailants. Red surface reliquary, worrying the parietal thresholds tubular. Syzygy in a wasteland of clay.
we've often been confronted about our work, our performances being confrontative or being offensive in some way, but often the subjects that we respond to have something way more offensive and sometimes something violent that we are kind of dealing with. So I guess you want to get a reaction out of the audience, you want people to feel something, and so the performances have to be quite visceral to communicate these sort of sometimes violent or important subjects that we're dealing with. So for instance, if the performance is very loud, or has a very strong smell, or if it's a bit frightening, then that's something that will pass. People will walk away from that performance. Hopefully they remember something, but the things that we deal with the kind of oppression or difficult situations that we speak about. That's something you can't switch off or walk away from. So.
Abject Majestic was a site-specific performance for the opening of the Lister Art Fair in Basel, in Switzerland. It was a very site-specific performance, mainly because we took up all 4 floors and staircases of the art fair.
It's like an outside courtyard.
It's a massive outside courtyard with a bar, a champagne bar, and lots of guests, and a giant staircase. And I guess we wanted to intervene and be quite flamboyant in response to how grotesque that kind of art fair is.
the last decade or so has been site-specific. So, for instance, with Aluka, that's a show that was performed in Synagogue de Delme in France, and we played on a lot of religious themes. So there were some biblical themes that came into it, and some Jewish music played into it. We always have specific costumes made for each performance as well, that are pretty much just used once. And I guess for Luca there was something, we worked with designer Zena Blown, who we collaborated with over years as well. She made these very gothic, so Aluka is a vampire out of the Bible, essentially, or out of an Old Testament. And we played in a very sort of gothic vampire look with that all sort of lace up. And there's also, in the special edition of the record, you can get a piece of this costume, a bit of the ribbon that we were laced in, also perfumed with the scents that we were doused in, smothered in for the performance.
So we're just sitting recording this in Avalon Cafe, and next Friday we'll be having a launch party here. So that's Friday the 15th of April at Avalon Cafe in South East London for the launch of our new record, Room Sound. And we've got some quite great artists playing on the night.
Maggie Nichols, Christabel Riley and Sue Lynch, Vindicatrix featuring Noveta, and Sophie Slay Johnson, who also has written some pieces responding to the tracks that are being released.
DJ.
And DJs
Bedma, DJ Actual Arse, and Candices.
Celebrating the absence of any definable career, hot entrails of scripture run through me like a stick of rock. Frittered semantics through flood-flecked gobs of these emissaries and heralds, children of a semi-infernal mother. As I scrabble in my green carrier bag from my holsters, I can hear the foghorns through fallow sizzles, falling to the clutching politeness of the self-righteous. Shadows darkening from the deluge wash the daughter's bones, just the tide's pulse to reverse each day.
to
order. When complete, these fragments evidently contained a whole ritual. The crumpled surface of the present.
A great hubbub in the city, the shops commanded to be shut up. I saw upon the sea ships burning, bones and flesh sticking upon the sides of the ships. Those sparkling ones, those notions, oh, do write down how he will make them come right also that great powers shall from off their throne. Let pens make known what they said, that they shall expire. Right, also that colonels and captains they shall know. They have not paid their vows, but only blustering oaks have been, great tall branches and boughs. We will reckon with them all. They have not brought forth righteousness or relief to the poor. But there is a time of the shooting bullets. But to cast the overflowing blood and these dry bones live. Give thy handmaid leave to tell thee that thy children are like dead bones now in the valley. But we can make them live. We can bring nerves and bones in them together again. Let us not be silent till they be brought out of the valley, out of the slime. How beholding is this tumultuous city to our inheritance. The poor, the fatherless, the widow, the onions, we eat and speak and argue together in our secrets, in our houses, our quarters, our offices. It is not now time to raise states and names and great things, for we are now hurling down They will set up their beacons on their hills. Oh, the people set up their posts by their posts. Great ones, do not